The first match, which has yet to be decided on which night, is the 6-pack TLC match for the WWE Tag Team titles. Now at last, the WWE Tag titles have made a WWE PLE match card. WWE have put considerable effort into the tag titles on the blue brand in recent months, and it's fantastic to see the teams finally get their moment on a huge PLE. With the 6-pack challenge being a TLC matchup, and the matchup having some of the most athletically gifted names in WWE involved, there's a strong possibility of the match stealing the show. But when it comes to the winners, the Wyatt Six's reign is just getting started, so it's likely that they retain, but if WWE really wanted to pull off a shocking twist, then the popular team of Andrade and Rey Fenix could pick up the W. But our prediction, we're sticking with the Wyatt Six retaining the WWE Tag Team titles. But let's start off with night 1 as Tiffany Stratton takes on Jade Cargill for the WWE Women's title. The Tiffany Stratton vs Jade Cargill matchup has definitely suffered from a lack of build. The babyface versus babyface dynamic is odd to say the very least, and it'll be interesting to see how the match plays out at SummerSlam. The fans have been giving Cargill mixed reactions in recent months, and there is a possibility that this is the match in which Cargill could finally embrace her villainous side and turn heel. Stratton's reign hasn't exactly lit the world on fire, and whilst Cargill still needs a ton of development, a title change does seem likely for SummerSlam. So our prediction, Jade Cargill wins the women's title. Next up is Randy Orton and Jelly Roll versus Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul. A fan criticism directed towards Jelly Roll has actually slowed down in recent weeks, especially when it was revealed that Roll has moved to Florida to train full-time ahead of the SummerSlam match. Whilst Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton should be in bigger matches on this specific card, they both no doubt see this as an exciting challenge, and working the celebrity match isn't the worst spot in the world. With McIntyre losing to Orton a number of weeks ago at Saturday night's main event, logic would assume that McIntyre gets his win back, and McIntyre and Logan Paul take home the victory. However, WWE is always keen to debut the new celebrity with a win, so it's likely that Orton and Roll pick up the big W, and that's our prediction. Next up, the Judgment Day take on Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss for the women's tag team titles. Now, the on-screen pairing of Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss has been a total delight, and fans have firmly connected with both women as a collective unit. There were reports that a singles match between the two was planned for the show, but Flair herself squashed these plans and decided that the two should team for the foreseeable future. This was 100% the right call, as it would have been totally nonsensical to end arguably the most entertaining run of Flair's career. SummerSlam is supposedly going to have a WrestleMania feel this year, and that means that title changes should be expected, and this is likely going to be one of the main ones. This screams opener for night 1, and seeing Bliss and Flair win the tag titles would be a smart way to set the tone for the entire weekend. But our prediction, Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair win the women's tag titles. Next up, Sami Zayn vs Karrion Kross. Now, it did come as a surprise that Sami Zayn vs Karrion Kross made the SummerSlam card. The matches themselves have received mixed reviews from fans on social media, and some have even questioned if Zayn is the right person for Kross to feud with since Kross discovered his newfound popularity. With that being said, the match could honestly go either way, but with Kross winning the last match on television and Zayn being a consistent upper echelon star that is likely going to play a role in War Games this year, there's a strong chance that Zayn gets his win back. Our prediction, Sami Zayn defeats Karrion Kross. Next up is Roman Reigns and Jey Uso versus Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed. Roman Reigns only has a few matches a year now, so each match of his naturally feels like a great deal. Whilst his tag match with zero stakes does seem rather underwhelming on paper, all four men are extremely talented, so hopefully the match delivers. The match is certainly predictable, as there's no way that Reigns and Jey Uso lose. Reigns lost at WrestleMania this year, and Jey was world champion just 50 days ago, so WWE will want to keep both men as strong as possible. Breakker and Reed won't be damaged too much with a loss, but with Breakker being WWE's next big thing, it's looking likely that Reed takes the loss for his team, likely from a spear from Reigns. Now, there's been speculation that the fourth man in the Seth Rollins faction could debut in the match, and if that occurs and the team still loses, it's not exactly the best first impression, so it may be best to either debut the mystery name after the match or on the subsequent edition of Raw. But our prediction, Roman Reigns and Jey Uso defeat Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker. And now we have the main event of night 1 of Gunther vs CM Punk for the world title. A Gunther vs CM Punk for the world title is perhaps the most unpredictable matchup on the entire SummerSlam card. On one hand, Punk winning the world title would be an iconic moment and would breathe new life into the WWE product. But on the other hand, Gunther's reign has only been going for just over 50 days, and his reign ending already would be somewhat of a huge disappointment. And this could easily be a multi-PLE story arc which culminates in Punk winning the title, but WWE evidently wants to pay off the Punk vs Seth Rollins story arc whenever Rollins receives medical clearance. Speaking of Rollins, he is truly the X factor in the entire match. Is he really injured? Is it a total work? That's the main question mark surrounding the match, and if Rollins' injury is indeed a work, it's too obvious to do an angle here, especially with it leaking online. The best thing to do for WWE is to perhaps have a clean win for Gunther and then allow the feud to continue into Clash in Paris. WWE's big matches have been quite rightly criticized for failing to have clean finishes, and this is one match that would really thrive from letting the two all-time greats at it and ending the match in a clean capacity. But our final prediction for Night 1 is that Gunther retains the world title. Now let's look at Night 2 as Dominic Mysterio takes on AJ Styles for the Intercontinental title. Now at last, AJ Styles will receive his shot at Dominic Mysterio at SummerSlam. AJ winning the Intercontinental title for the second time does seem sensible, as AJ is the type of wrestler that should be carrying such a prestigious title. There were rumors that WWE could be running back AJ versus John Cena, and with the Intercontinental title attached to the feud, the two foes could produce magic. Also, John Cena has never won the Intercontinental title and has never been a Grand Slam winner, so could he do that before he retires altogether? One thing's for sure is that Mysterio's reign hasn't been the greatest, as his injury definitely played a big factor, and the positive fan response to Mysterio at WrestleMania never really went anywhere. The inevitable Finn Balor turn could go down during the match, but this would see Balor be involved in screwing a Judgment Day member 2 SummerSlam shows in a row, so it's definitely a predictable finish that WWE may wish to avoid. But our prediction, AJ Styles wins the Intercontinental title. Next up is Solo Sikoa versus Jacob Fatu in a cage match for the US title. Now a steel cage match will seemingly settle the score between Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu, and with arguably Sikoa's best match ever coming in a steel cage match versus Cody Rhodes on SmackDown last year, this should be a terrific matchup. WWE may book the match to end definitively with Fatu getting the title back and the two ending their feud. However, it's a match destined to be booked in such a way that the numbers game is too much for Fatu, and Fatu is screwed out of the title. Whilst it's indeed a cage match that is really designed to keep wrestlers out of the cage, that's never stopped wrestlers interfering, so Fatu will be protected if WWE books the inevitable interference spot. Now, another way the match could end could be for Fatu to get sick of the attempted interference and proceed to deliver a Bobby Lashley style dive onto the cage to take out the members of Sikoa's faction. This would be an incredible spot and would certainly make the match more memorable. But our prediction, Solo Sikoa retains the US title. Next up is Becky Lynch versus Lyra Valkyria, a no DQ, no countout last chance match for the Women's Intercontinental title. The work that Becky Lynch has done with the Women's Intercontinental title has been nothing short of extraordinary. Lynch has elevated the title to new heights, and WWE must keep the positive momentum going when Lynch drops the title, which will potentially be here at SummerSlam. Valkyria getting the title back in a huge clean win over Lynch will be a statement victory. However, Bayley may also play a big factor as a heel turn has been teased for weeks now. The smartest way for WWE to book the match would be for Valkyria to win the title and then to have Valkyria feud with Bayley. This will keep a credible name attached to the IC title and should influence WWE to preserve the strong booking over the next few months. But our prediction, Lyra Valkyria wins the Women's Intercontinental title. Next up is Naomi versus Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley for the Women's World title. Naomi, Io Sky and Rhea Ripley have all the markings for a classic matchup, and fans quite rightly have high expectations. With Naomi's world title reign only being 2 weeks in, it does seem to suggest that she retains the title, especially with Stephanie Vaquer being #1 contender for Clash in Paris. Whilst predictable, this shouldn't take anything away from the matchup, and the women will do everything they can to steal the entire weekend, but we see Naomi retaining the Women's World title. It's just too soon. And finally, the main event of John Cena versus Cody Rhodes, a street fight for the WWE title. Now, there's a ton of pressure on John Cena and Cody Rhodes to deliver at SummerSlam. The matchup will headline Night 2, and due to the overwhelmingly negative response to their WrestleMania main event, the match has to hit the mark. The street fight stipulation may help the match, as traditionally Cena's street fights have been excellent, but this will mark Cena's first proper gimmick match since turning heel earlier this year. This is a match that a lot of fans firmly believe that Cena will turn babyface in, and Rhodes is even insisting that the old Cena shows up for the big match. If WWE commits to the babyface turn, it may be as simple as the two embracing at the end of the matchup. WWE could even plant the seeds of Cena realizing the error of his ways throughout the matchup, but this has to be handled with care. All signs do seem to suggest that Rhodes wins the WWE title back in the main event. However, there are numerous factors at play that may prevent this from happening. The first factor is that Rhodes, alongside Roman Reigns, is set to film a movie after SummerSlam. It's unknown how long Rhodes will be away from WWE programming, but he is expected to work Clash in Paris just like Cena. Another factor is Seth Rollins. Rollins has previously teased cashing in on the WWE title, and it'd be a huge swerve if Rollins doesn't cash in on night 1 during Gunther vs CM Punk, meaning that everyone would assume that his injury is legitimate, but then he shockingly returns to cash in during Cena vs Rhodes Part 2. The street fight stipulation will definitely help WWE execute this effectively, as WWE could even have Rollins stable interfere, and with the match being no DQ, WWE wouldn't have to worry about ref bumps or any other potential complications. This would then allow Rhodes and Rollins to feud once Rhodes returns to television, and it will allow Cena to start his redemption story with his remaining WWE dates, which isn't many at this point. This obviously depends on if Rollins' injury is a work or not, but this could be one of the most surprising and entertaining twists WWE have delivered in recent memory. Our final prediction: Seth Rollins wins the WWE title.
Yeah.